Consequences. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. UPI reports average household incomes in the United States climbed for the third straight year in 2017, and poverty rates declined, according to new data on Wednesday from the U.S. Census Bureau. The 74-page report, titled Income and Poverty in the United States, said the median U.S. household income was $61,372 last year, up nearly 2% from 2016. While significant, the increase in household income made larger jumps in both 2015 and 2016. The Census Bureau also detailed a 0.4% decline in the poverty rate to 12.3%. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reported this month the unemployment rate remained historically low at 3.9%, its lowest level since the year 2000. The census figures also showed that nearly 2.3 million more Americans bought health insurance under the Affordable Care Act from 2016 to 2017 for a total of nearly 295 million people. Still, an estimated 28.5 million people went without any coverage last year, a slight increase over 2016. In 2010, before the Affordable Care Act became available, 16.3% of the U.S. population had no health insurance coverage. Now that figure's at 8.8%, meaning about 91% of all Americans had coverage for all or part of 2017, according to the Census Bureau. Wednesday's report also said the effects of the Republican-led tax overhaul last year should benefit the average taxpayer, who could save about $2,000. Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Get started with Bitcoin at weusecoins.com. That's weusecoins.com. Reuters reports the Food and Drug Administration is considering a ban on flavored e-cigarettes from Juul Labs and other companies as it grapples with an epidemic of youth e-cigarette use that threatens to create a new generation of nicotine addicts. In a speech at FDA headquarters, Commissioner Scott Gottlieb said the agency would also revisit a policy that extended the dates for some manufacturers of flavored e-cigarettes to get FDA approval before selling their products. That could lead to the removal of some major flavored e-cigarette brands, including the popular products made by Juul, if they do not address the issue to the agency's satisfaction. Gottlieb said, "We see clear signs that youth use of electronic cigarettes has reached an epidemic proportion." The FDA said more than 2 million middle school and high school students used e-cigarettes in 2017. The FDA is giving the 5 top-selling e-cigarette brands, Juul, Vuse, Mark 10 XL, Blue, and Logic, 60 days to provide plans for how they will mitigate sales to minors. Investors in Juul's competitors appear to welcome the FDA announcement. Gottlieb announced a number of steps the agency plans to take as part of a broader crackdown on the sale and marketing of e-cigarettes to minors. Juul Labs said it would work with the FDA and is committed to preventing underage use of its products. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Following reports of a newly posted job listing at area marketing firm Swenson Digital, The Onion spoke to a few of the 1,400 applicants who claim they are, quote, absolutely perfect for this position.
When I first saw this opening, I knew it was right for me. I've got tons of experience. I've got all the skills they're looking for.
If you look at my resume, I've got everything they're looking for. I mean, I've held similar jobs like this in the past. I'm extremely driven. I really think this is going to work out.
I've got a BA in marketing, which the posting said was recommended, so I think that'll bode really well for me. I've had plenty of team experience, and I think that would stand out. Not to mention the fact that I'm great with
web design and HTML, and pretty proficient with Excel and PowerPoint. Also, I think the culture is
very me, you know. I think I'd fit in well with the other employees. I also think I had a great resume
and cover letter. I think as soon as they interview me, they'll see I'm the perfect candidate.
As of this video's release, Swenson Digital had extended a job offer to an applicant who happens to be a friend of the boss's son.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live. This is Free Talk Live. We'll give you the toll-free call-in lines here momentarily, where you can call in to join us and bring up whatever is on your mind. The us in studio tonight is Darryl.
And Chris.
And there was a story that we covered a couple of weeks ago, and I don't know why we're getting an echo there, so let's mute the ISDN, unmute the Comrex, and apparently Nope, not hearing an echo there. So that's good. Hopefully, whatever the echo was. I hate when there's these echo problems.
I was just repeating everything a second or so late. Everything you would say.
Remember a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, I know. I'm just messing with
there was the story that we covered out of New Jersey about the homeless guy.
Yeah.
That this couple decided we're going to start a GoFundMe and raise money for him. And then they decided, well, we think he might spend all of it on drugs and just waste it and this, that, the other thing. Mm-hmm. So we'll just give him a little bit at a time. There's an update on that story.
Interesting.
And Chris, there was something interesting that you had brought in about excessive force.
Yes.
Where apparently there was a court ruling on that. But let's first start with a story that I think was teased last night. Information update from the Census Bureau. I know the first question is, wait a second. I thought the Census Bureau only did their stuff every 10 years.
No.
Well, no, that's the actual counting of the people. But they do wind up, keeping statistical data. Along with the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they keep statistical data, constantly, and every year will come out with some reports.
It's also the government. So if you expect them to do something 1 year, expect them to take the next 10 years to tabulate everything that they did, and they will trickle out things that they find interesting. And I think we will.
On this, there's something, and there are a lot of conspiracy theories about this thing called the American Community Survey that is done by the Census Bureau. It is not the census, but it's a survey of statistical data that's sent out, just, like randomly selected a certain amount of people that get this thing. And then when those come in, the Census Bureau tabulates, and that's how you wind up seeing, here are the 2015 population estimates for this place. It's based on this survey. And then they have things of the average household income is this, average debt, things of that nature. So on Wednesday, which would be yesterday, the Census Bureau came out with a report. The New York Times has the story here. The income of the median American household has finally rebounded from the damage caused by the 2008 financial crisis. They say it's a significant milestone in the nation's painfully slow economic recovery.
Well, it's only been 10 years or so, right, Darryl?
It's been 10 years, yes. Median household income, according to a Census Bureau report, reached $61,372 in 2017, a number that is said to be statistically indistinguishable from the median on the cusp of the crisis in 2007.
Wow, great. That's great news, Darryl.
But is it? Is it really great news? I know on the surface, it looks like people are wealthier now than they've ever been.
Well, I assume that we're measuring this in $2007, $2008?
No, they're not using inflation-adjusted dollars. They're using 2017 dollars.
Inflated dollars. Correct. The numbers that they are putting out are inflated numbers.
Right, but it's not inflation adjusted, and that's something that we need to make sure, because
when
somebody hearing this might not notice, like, those sound the same.
Right.
What is the difference?
Right. So to talk a little bit about, not to go deep into monetary policy or anything like that, but we here in the United States have an inflationary currency. We have the U.S. dollar. And
I can't think of a country on the planet that doesn't have an inflationary currency.
I don't know if there is one, but there have been a lot of rumblings.
Even in Australia, they have something that is supposedly a commodity-backed currency, but they have fractional reserve banking that allows them to adjust the rate of reserve.
Right. So I'm just going to break down some ballpark numbers here, and maybe I could even pull up some Federal Reserve numbers here, but I'm going to say that in the last 20 years or so, I'll go 30 years, the number of dollars that are actually in circulation that the U.S. government, the Treasury Department, and the Federal Reserve have created out of nothing Basically, it was, I'm going to guess it's around a 4x amount. So if we had about $1 trillion, and I'm ballparking this somewhere around 2000, today we might have around $4 trillion.
So I've actually pulled up the numbers here, and let me click 10-year and...
Looking at Fred?
No, looking at tradingeconomics.com, which was like the first thing that popped up when I pulled up monetary supply, and they're using the M2 number.
Right.
Going back 10 years from today, the number in billions was just under 8,000 billion.
So 8 trillion.
In the year 2000, and now it is over 14,000 billion.
So that's a slight doubling in M2. That's why I was kind of waffling, saying you have to go back maybe
almost a doubling.
30 years, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But the long and the...
So let's keep that in comparison. So we have almost twice as much money as we had a decade ago, but the household income now is where it was a decade ago. Let that sink in for a moment.
Right. And keep in mind that every year, your government comes out with these numbers. They talk about gross national product, the productivity of the country. And it has gone up, anywhere from 1.5% during the recession, maybe 1% or flat, up to them talking about 2%, 3%, 4%.
Right.
Under the Trump administration. The long and the short of it is your monetary supply is increasing, and when things supply in quantity, then they each individual unit loses some value. The way I like to think of it is if you compare grains of sand, which are very, very plentiful, to diamonds, which are very, very rare. Diamonds are worth a whole lot of money, and sand is not worth much.
Well, that's because there was that De Beers family that wound up something, and there's like a whole conspiracy about why diamonds are valuable.
So there's not just the fact that we produce money out of thin air. When the U.S. government needs more money, they don't raise our taxes. You notice that even during all the spending, your taxes might go up, by 1% or 2%, and then Trump comes along and he drops it, the top rate by 1% or 2%. But how do we pay for, $18 trillion in war costs and things like that?
Oh, you just add that to the national debt. That's why the national debt is $21 trillion.
You do have that.
So let's continue with the article because they get into some of the numbers here.
Excellent.
The Trump administration, in a statement released by the White House Council of Economic Advisors, hailed the report as an indication of a strengthening of the American economy. The statement said, "The effects of the strong economy are reaching Americans throughout the United States. This news is actually better than these numbers suggest."
Wow.
But the details of the report have raised questions about whether middle-class households, which have experienced an economic lost decade, are now likely to see actual income gains or if they will simply tread water. One reason for concern is that the growth slowed in 2017 to 1.8%. Median income had grown more rapidly in previous years by 5.2% and 3.2% in 2015 and 2016, respectively. The gains in income were also driven by increased employment rather than by increased pay. The average annual earnings of both male and female full-time workers actually declined in the last year, but the drop was offset in the national data by the increase in the number of people with jobs. There's more to this, plus your calls and thoughts. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live. Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They're working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform and generate income from them. This will allow Horizon to bring thousands of real-life services to the community. Services that provide freedom, utility, and privacy. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community. HORIZEN.global.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com. Do you operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet at your cash register, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.global. Drop your personal crypto wallet addresses in our setup page, and then load our app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now at AnyPay.global. That's AnyPay.global.
Bitcoin.com wants you to know about SaveItPurse.com. Since launching in 2014, over 200,000 users have saved an average of 15% for a combined $4 million using Bitcoin, or BTC. And now you can use Bitcoin Cash, BCH, to fund your account. You can save between 5 to 33% on things you're going to buy anyway when you shop using SaveItPurse.com. Add items to your cart, fund your account, select your discount, and save. SaveItPurse.com. SaveAtPurse.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your get intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadati.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Darryl.
And Chris.
And want you to know that Zencash is now Horizon. Horizon is a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology with a decentralized secure node architecture. The Horizon platform enables real-life uses beyond currency itself, including the ability to privately chat with other people. Soon, Horizon will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. Horizon, bringing privacy to life. Learn more at horizon.global. That's HORIZEN.global. And if you are a podcast listener, or, well, if you're not a podcast listener, you might want to be one, because we're still giving away some Zen in some different giveaways. The ways that you can enter, they're in ads running in the podcast. So if you're not listening to the podcast, then you're not knowing how to enter. So you can check out the podcast over at listen.freetalklive.com or feeds.freetalklive.com. So back to the story that we've been discussing here, where the Census Bureau came out with a report yesterday talking about the gains of median household income.
Wow.
Where they're almost back up to pre-recession levels. Chris?
That is just something to be proud of. That's what makes America the greatest country in the world.
And again, looking at the money supply from a decade ago, it was somewhere, and this is one of those charts where you can't see the actual number, but it's just below 8,000 billion, which you said would be 8 trillion.
8 trillion.
Money supply currently is 14,147.3 billion.
And this is an M2 number.
This is the M2 number.
So for those of you wondering what we mean when we talk about M2 and money supply, M2 is the easiest way to put it is it's near money. It's checkbook money. It's savings account money. It is CDs that have short turnover and things like that. Things you could readily get your hands
liquidate.
on. Right, easily liquid money.
And Chris, you had mentioned when we first started mentioning these numbers, or actually before I pulled up these numbers, about what was the money supply, say, 30 years ago.
Right.
That's not an easy to get number from the website that I'm on, but they do have what the money supply was in January of 1959. So almost 60 years ago. The money supply was $286.6 billion. So 2.8 trillion. Right?
Right.
And now, again, it's over 14,000 billion. And there's this handy thing called the inflation calculator that uses the numbers from the federal government.
Right.
The admittedly flawed number from the CPI, but it's the official number nonetheless.
Right.
So I put in, all right, if I have $100 in 2018 and I wanted to purchase things in 1959 because I've got Doc Brown's time travel device.
Right.
Those items would only cost $11.54 in 1959.
Right.
To put this another way, if I'm from 1959 and I come to the year 2018 and I want to buy something with $1959, it would cost me $866.48. Meaning inflation of 766%.
Yeah.
So getting back into the article, they say, again, that the increase here in the average annual wages is not because people are making more money. They're saying that the wages have actually decreased, but the employment rate has increased, so that's why the household income has increased. Heidi Sherholtz, an economist at the Economic Policy Institute, says we have tight labor markets, but not tight enough to generate a break from the trend to spur meaningful wage growth. The report provides ample fodder for both political parties in the run-up to the midterm elections in November. Congressional Republicans, saddled with an unpopular president, are eager to take credit for economic gains, rallying behind the slogan that Americans are better off now. Representative Ted Budd of North Carolina described the report as huge news for the middle class. But Democrats argue that the benefits of growth are mostly being pocketed by the wealthy. Economic output, adjusted for inflation, increased by 16% between 2007 and 2017, while median income remained virtually unchanged. The median is the midpoint of the income distribution, meaning that half of the households are higher, half of the households are lower. Most people would say, oh, so that's the average, but technically that's not the average.
Technically it is not.
Jared Bernstein, an economist at the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, who served as the chief economist to Vice President Joe Biden said the numbers showed, quote, a structural gap between overall economic growth and the prosperity of many families.
So what I just have to say this, and this is why economics is about numbers. Yes. And unfortunately, when Washington gets involved, it becomes with gaming the numbers. And how do we have the numbers say what we want them to say? If you go back just a couple years, you will hear Joe Biden talking about how great the economy was doing under Obama.
Right.
And you heard all of the Republicans telling everybody how horrible it was. So whoever's in charge, whoever's in power, they're claiming it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and the world is all nice and rosy. The reality is that when you have a currency that does not hold its value, any drop is going to be felt hardest by the people furthest away from the new money. And that is middle-class citizens, the poor, not the wealthy, and it's certainly not going to be government. Government gets a hold of that money first before it loses value.
Right, and going back to this inflation calculator and showing that things don't hold their money, instead of going all the way back to 1959, let's just go back to 2007, which is what this article is talking about, saying that household income has remained virtually unchanged over the last decade. Well, $100 from 2007 is now worth $121, meaning that there's been a 21% rate of inflation.
Right.
Over the last decade.
Right. You hear that, folks? 21%. Now, what the
income is the same,
right,
but it's worth 21% less than it was.
Right. But what do you hear on the evening news? You hear the Fed has kept inflation low. Well, here's a little secret. Inflation is theft. When they inflate your money supply, they're taking the buying power of your dollar out of you. They are taxing you in a way that is not obvious. You lose money. You can't afford the same things you used to. You have to tighten your budget because Washington doesn't want to tighten theirs.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. More from the New York Times about the supposed good news here that income is the same as it was a decade ago.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Hear that? That's the sound of a house being trashed while a gang of thieves ransack the place. And what they don't steal will be destroyed.
This year, resolve not to be the next victim of a break-in. Go to faketv.com and discover a device that creates the illusion someone inside is watching TV, even when you're miles away. Security is a mindset, and Fake TV should be part of your security solution. Be vigilant, but not fearful. faketv.com.
The warning signs.
At first, he made me feel special. He promised he'd look after me, provide for my future. He broke every promise he made.
Millions of Americans afflicted.
I was ready to leave, but he told me he'd change. So I gave him another chance. I was such a fool.
The consequences.
Things only got worse. He started making my decisions for me. About my job, my kids' education, my money, my safety, my future. He took away my choices, but I kept going back to the same politicians.
The diagnosis? Battered voter syndrome.
I fell for the same old lies. They were just playing with my emotions, telling me what I wanted to hear. That's not right.
If you're tired of the two-party system but want to support a principled Libertarian Party, check out the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire at lpnh.org. That's lpnh.org.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733 in studio. It's Darryl.
And Chris.
And your calls and thoughts, welcome, about whatever is on your mind. We've been talking about these numbers from the Census Bureau showing that, good news, everybody, household income is where it was a decade ago.
That's something to really be proud of, Darryl.
Bad news, everybody. Your dollars are worth 21% less than they were a decade ago.
But you should still just be happy, Darryl. Just suck it up and just say, greatest country in the world.
America.
Greatest economy ever.
But, the numbers don't show that.
That's okay, Darryl. That's not our job. Our job as Americans, you want to be a good American, you just need to talk about how good things are. I'm learning this. I mean, it's I hear it all the time. So I shouldn't poke fun at the Federal Reserve. I shouldn't poke fun at Treasury. I shouldn't poke fun at our monetary policy. I shouldn't be upset because my dollars are worth 21% than they were when we went into this recession.
Right.
I should not worry that wages are stagnant. I should be happy for that. So there, I'm happy, Darryl. I'm friggin' thrilled.
Because I came in.
Hey, Heather, how are you?
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Heather has joined us in studio. So jumping back into the article here from the New York Times, they say while middle-class incomes are treading water, the rich have prospered, and they say here that the poor have fallen behind. And, this is one of those things to where, as you mentioned, like the trickiness of statistics.
Right.
To where you can basically manipulate the numbers and say whatever. They claim here that between 2007 and 2017, household income at the 90th percentile rose by 7.5%, while at the 10th percentile, it fell by 4.5%.
So I do want to address that because a lot of people, particularly libertarians, they're like, don't pick on the rich. I mean, they're successful, right? Mm-hmm. They've done really, really well.
Yeah.
Well, there's another side of that, and the side of it is U.S. policy, and that can be tax policy, that can be all sorts of different things. What the very wealthy can do, which most people cannot do, is realize most of their income through capital gains, which is a much lower tax rate than the average person who has to pay whatever bracket they're in.
Well, and then there's also the thing of being really close with the people that make policies that basically wind up picking winners and losers.
Sure. But I'm just saying that we do have policies in this country that do benefit those very wealthy people who have the influence to kind of slide put the finger on the scale on their side. And I just, it's taxation is theft, pure and simple. You're being forced to do it. But it's even worse to me when you decide that, we're going to take more from some people than others. It's just bad no matter how you slice it.
The Trump administration, back to the article here, Trump administration declared in July that the federal government's long-running efforts to reduce policy is, quote, largely over and a success.
Thank God, we finally beat poverty.
The Census Bureau, however, reported that 12.3% of Americans lived in poverty in 2017, about 39.7 million people. Now, something that the New York Times article doesn't mention here, but UPI did, was that the poverty rate declined slightly. It was somewhere like 0.5% decline.
Right.
But still 12.3%. And I think, Chris, if you pull up numbers going back to when, was it Lyndon Johnson declared war on poverty?
Yeah.
And we're going to spend trillions of dollars. The poverty rate was somewhere in that 10 to 15% range.
Yeah, I think you're right.
They say this was an improvement over 2016 when the poverty rate stood at 12.7%.
But I think your point, Darryl, is that, a government program comes in, it costs trillions and trillions of dollars, and what are we, 4 decades later since the original war on poverty, and we see what changed? Virtually nothing.
Right.
What do we see when we look at 5 decades of the war on drugs?
Yeah.
Virtually the same.
The thing with government programs that always bugs me is that, it's one thing to have a program that's designed for, an intended thing, but with government, it's like anything that they do seems never ending. So the Mass Pike, perfect example, we're going to put a toll up here, right? And we're going to collect enough money to pay for the road.
Yeah, seems legit.
Road gets paid for, toll doesn't go away.
Yeah, it's the same way in Pennsylvania, Ohio, New Jersey, every state with toll roads.
It's the same thing with any type of program they do. We're going to, hire 500 people to do this job. Great. Well, when the job's done, are you going to fire them? Of course not. Well, so it's the more government, it's just this is one reason I think so highly of Gary is because he actually did shed over 1,000 state jobs while he was governor.
Well, that's why I appreciate things like, do you remember what, this is a long time, it's probably before your time, but back in the day we used to have Social Security taxes taken out of our paychecks.
I think I still do.
Really?
Yeah.
That can't be right because Social Security was a temporary program put in place during the Great Depression. It was only going to last for a couple years.
Well, what's the statement? There's nothing more permanent than a temporary government program.
Yeah. So every time you pay your Social Security taxes, when you think about that, that is my perfect definition of a temporary government program.
Dude, if we had one Gary Johnson in all 50 states, there's 50,000 jobs taken away.
But then we'd have 50 Gary Johnsons, and we couldn't even tell them apart.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
The U.S. Census Bureau made significant changes in their methodology in 2013, which complicates comparisons with earlier years. The reported level of median household income in 2017 was the highest on record, but officials said the changes in methodology tended to increase reported income. Adjusting for those changes, median household income was comparable to 2007 and slightly lower than in 1999. Again, and let me go over to the inflation calculator here and type in the year 1999. The US dollar is currently 51% less valuable than it was in 1999, and median household income is now lower than it was in 1999 when the dollar was more valuable. The government publishes more than one measure of household income, each with its own strengths and weaknesses. The Congressional Budget Office, for example, publishes a measure that includes the value of the Earned Income Tax Credit and non-cash benefits like food stamps. By that measure, median household income surpassed the 2007 levels in 2014 and was significantly higher than in 1999. The Census Bureau also reported that the share of Americans with health insurance did not increase in 2017, breaking a trend of steady increases dating back to 2010. They then go on to talk about the number of people with health insurance coverage. The stagnation was striking because the increase in the share of Americans with full-time jobs. Such an increase would ordinarily be expected to produce a rise in health insurance coverage. Robert Greenstein, the president of the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, said the likely explanation was the Trump administration's efforts to undermine the Affordable Care Act. Otherwise, he said, we probably would have seen further progress in 2017.
I don't think I can afford any more progress in affordable health care.
The undermining of the Affordable Care Act was, what, the removal of the requirement that you actually have to purchase health insurance?
Right.
Yeah, it's amazing what happens when you say, you have to purchase this or pay us a big fine if you don't.
Yeah. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And the idea that this thing has been affordable at any point in its lifetime is laughable, and we just have a mess.
Yeah. When has healthcare been affordable? Probably when I was like 5. This is Free Talk Live. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. On August 24th, 1992, 20 eager Cardozo law students filed into a small room to kick off the first day of Barry Scheck and Peter Newfield's Innocence Project clinic. After years as public defenders in New York City, Barry and Peter started the clinic to review cases of people in prison who could prove their innocence using DNA testing. What they thought was a few hundred cases turned out to be thousands, and a clear sign that the system needed repair. At the time, no one imagined that Barry's and Peter's vision would evolve into a national organization with the power to reform the criminal justice system 26 years later. Since that August day in 1992, there are now 565 Cardozo Law School clinic students trained, and the Innocence Project has celebrated 208 exonerations. They've also worked together to pass over 150 laws in the U.S. to help prevent wrongful convictions. You can support the Innocence Project by going to run.freetalklive.com. That's run.freetalklive.com.
Folks, this is very important information. What's to be said about CBD? AncientLifeOil.com. Our CBD is made from hemp and has 0.003 THC, which means this wonderful product won't get you high, no matter what amount you take. What does CBD do for the body? My hands are tied, but you can Google CBD benefits and be astounded. When you're finished reading, you'll want to log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. and purchase. Life is good when you feel good. People are tired of pain. People are asking for non-GMO organic products to help them with, you fill in the blank. Legal in 49 states, and again, our CBD is made from hemp. Ancient Life Oil is about helping people one by one by one. If you wonder how good the product is, the CEO takes it every day without miss. AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Have a great day.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Your calls and thoughts welcome about whatever is on your mind. In studio tonight, it's Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And the 4th Texas Bitcoin Conference is coming up fast, October 27th and 28th in Austin, Texas. The Texas Bitcoin Conference is always a great event for networking, innovation, and entertainment. This year, speakers include Paul Snow of Factom, Bruce Fenton of Ravencoin, Professor John M. Griffin, and many more. Go to TexasBitcoinConference.com right now and get your tickets. Free Talk Live will be broadcasting from there again, and we would love to see you. TexasBitcoinConference.com. So we've been talking about money, the value of money, how it's decreased in value by 21% over the last decade. But hey, good news. Household income is where it was a decade ago. Yeah. Even though the money is worth 21% less. But changing gears, and we did post that link on the social medias. You can go to either telegram.freetalklive.com and follow the channel. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or now Mastodon. But changing gears here and actually giving an update to a story that we covered a couple of weeks ago about Johnny Bobbitt. Not the guy from the 90s that got really famous for not so good reasons.
Lorena Bobbitt, she got pretty famous too.
Johnny was the homeless guy, or rather is the homeless guy from New Jersey who wound up helping out a woman. She set up a GoFundMe page that raised $400,000, and he wound up going to court against the woman and her boyfriend, saying, hey, you raised all of this money. You've not given me all of this money. I want the money. And originally, it was to be handed over to his lawyers who were acting pro bono. So it's not like he was, like going into debt hiring lawyers. A couple of guys, hey, we'll take this pro bono because this ain't right. So there was going to be a trust created that they would oversee. And well, at the time that we covered that, the update was that the couple was to turn over the money within a couple of days. And late last week, their attorney, or rather Bobbitt's attorney, Christopher C. Fallon, said, quote, there's no money left. Adding that Bobbitt was completely devastated. Where the money went, I have no idea.
But that's his attorney saying that, right? That's not like, because I remember reading something that they hired a forensic accountant.
They were supposed to hire a forensic accountant,
right, to
keep track of where the money was. The money was supposed to be handed over by Kate McClure and Mark D'Amico,
right,
to Christopher Fallon.
Mm-hmm.
On what date? It was a week or two ago, right?
Yeah, it was like a day or 2 days after the hearing that was 2 weeks ago today, the attorney who was supposed to have received the money says there is no money, meaning he was not given anything.
So what did does that say anything about the forensic accountant?
Let's continue with the article, see if they have any additional details in here. Kate McClure and her boyfriend, Mark D'Amico, started the GoFundMe account in November of 2017. Since then, the Burlington couple has come under fire when Bobbitt claimed he had not received most of the money. He said he was forced to file a lawsuit against them to get access to the money. Ernest Badway, an attorney for McClure and D'Amico, did not respond to request for comment. Fallon said his client believed that there was at least $150,000 left. That money was supposed to be frozen and transferred into a trust until the legal dispute was resolved. Fallon said he'd heard the $150,000 number when the couple went on the Megyn Kelly Today Show. Today, and they say today, this was last Tuesday or Wednesday. Today, he learned the number is 0. Fallon said that's a lot of money to go through in a short period of time. The couple claimed they did not give the full amount of money to Bobbitt right away because he struggled with drug addiction and they feared he would blow it all irresponsibly. Bobbitt told ABC6 that he had asked McClure and D'Amico for access to every penny he needed, and the three would joke that the couple were like his parents. But the joke stops being funny after a while, he says. Bedway, the couple's attorney, said they spent around $200,000 of the money on Bobbitt, including a $25,000 deposit for a bank account they helped him open. The couple said Bobbitt blew that money in just 13 days. And it says here last week, they mean 2 weeks ago, Burlington County Superior Judge Paula Dow ruled in favor of the temporary restraining order on the funds, meaning that McClure and D'Amico were to turn over the money to Bobbitt's attorneys. Now, after learning there is no money left, Fallon said they are making requests to review the couple's financial records. Fallon said he's unsure when the next court date will be after hearing of the new development. He said, we really have to take this one step at a time. We're going to follow up as best we can to follow where the money went. In the meantime, Fallon said his team is working to help Bobbitt get submitted into a drug recovery program to receive 28 days of therapy to tackle his drug addiction problem.
I'm sorry, but this couple might want to get urinalysis tested. I'm just speaking of drug problems. I mean, you went through $400,000 and it hasn't been that long.
In less than a year. But again, it was like 3 weeks ago they said, yeah, there's probably like $150,000 or $200,000 left.
Right.
Yeah, but all I've seen is the statements from the attorneys saying all the money's gone. But I want to hear like the actual accounting,
court.
like on what?
Right. That's why he said we're trying to figure out where we are getting records. We're getting all of their financial records. Because the couple, they're not going to say, yeah, we went out on a hookers and blow binge. And if you look up the guy's name, D'Amico, I forget his first name. Let me find it up here in the story earlier. He actually wound up getting, Mark D'Amico, he wound up getting picked up on a bench warrant for missing some kind of court hearing over the summer. I don't recall what the court hearing was for, but, you know, like, they've got legal trouble of their own other than this.
Was he released on $400,000 bail by any chance?
No, it was closer to $3,000.
I'm just checking.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on this? And Heather, I know you keep saying, like, where did the money go? And they're not saying.
I'm just like, I'm wondering, because I watched that interview they did on, I don't know, I don't think it was, I can't remember if it was the Today Show or something, but the couple went on and they had like this, like they swore up and down that they were like complying with the forensic accountant, that they had nothing to hide, that like, basically they didn't do anything, and she got all emotional because she's saying her family was getting like death threats and stuff, and then like the host was just like, oh, you know, asking everyone to reserve judgment until it officially comes out, which I think is a good thing to do. I think you're gonna read stories, you know, like, you can't convict somebody by a news article. And you know what? I've made the mistake of doing that in the past, where it's like it gives the illusion someone is this god-awful person, but in reality, it could be the exact opposite situation. So I do think it's probably wise for everybody to reserve judgment until, like, it all comes out. Because, I mean, even attorneys spout stuff off at the mouth all the time that's not true. So,
well, in this case, the problem is there was a court order, correct?
Yes.
Produce the money. And
but I haven't seen any concrete proof that they haven't.
The proof, I would argue, is the fact that they didn't have anything to turn over.
They were to hand the money over to attorney Christopher Fallon. He received nothing.
So that was the court saying, you do this.
If the court says, Heather,
what's the time
give
frame?
This thing to Chris. The time frame was like 2 weeks ago. It was, I believe, the day after. Like,
when's this article from?
This article right here is from 1 week ago. That was from a week after the court hearing.
So again, we still don't have anything going on.
Right. So if a court says, Heather, hand over a Camaro to Chris, and you don't give Chris a Camaro by the deadline, then you've not handed Chris a Camaro. So it would be factual for Chris to say, Heather did not give me a Camaro.
Yeah. So, yeah, I agree with you. And part of it's just morbid curiosity. What the hell did they...
Yeah.
If they
and that's
did
the
indeed,
thing that's trying to
if
be
they did indeed blow the money,
now.
what
I think I'm just personally going to reserve judgment until this forensic accountant spills the beans.
I'm fine with
curious.
it. Well, I'm concerned for all the people that donated thinking they were giving money to a homeless guy.
Right.
To help him out, to help him on his way. And they got screwed because that money apparently has not gotten to that guy yet, other than $25,000.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Let's talk tough. Let's talk comfort. Let's talk about down-home value. Made in the USA blue jeans, like you wore as a kid. Remember?
There's a place down in Tennessee where they make blue diamond gusset jeans. They so pride in every stitch, guarantee you love the way they fit. They put a diamond gusset in the crotch where you need it most. Blue diamond gussets got it, others don't.
For good old-fashioned comfort, get Diamond Gusset jeans. Every stitch guaranteed. And our Defender motorcycle jean comes Kevlar reinforced. See them at GUSSET.com, that's gusset.com, or call 888-848-7738. That's 888-848-7738. Diamond Gusset jeans got it, others don't.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, September 13th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.29 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,210 per ounce. Zen is trading at $16, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,457. Antiwar.com reports on Wednesday, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo announced that he had sent a certification to Congress affirming that the Saudi government is taking demonstrable action to reduce civilian casualties in Yemen. This certification allows U.S. military aid to continue to flow to the Saudis. In reality, there is no sign of any concrete changes in Saudi policy, and the civilian death toll is as high as ever. What Pompeo has done is allow the administration to circumvent congressional efforts to limit U.S. involvement in the Saudi war. In the 2019 National Defense Authorization Act, Congress called a halt to U.S. funding of the Saudi-led coalition, demanding major changes to reduce civilian casualties and saying no aid could flow until such time as it was certified that the changes were made. Instead of actually doing that, Pompeo is signing paperwork now, ensuring that the U.S. aid shipments won't stop for even a moment. This does, however, ignore congressional intentions and is likely to fuel more efforts to try to scale back the war going forward. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. UPI reports average household incomes in the United States climbed for the third straight year in 2017, and poverty rates declined, according to new data on Wednesday from the U.S. Census Bureau. The 74-page report titled Income and Poverty in the United States said the median U.S. household income was $61,372 last year, up nearly 2% from 2016. While significant, the increase in household income made larger jumps in both 2015 and 2016. The Census Bureau also detailed a 0.4% decline in the poverty rate to 12.3%. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reported this month the unemployment rate remained historically low at 3.9%, its lowest level since the year 2000. The census figures also showed that nearly 2.3 million more Americans bought health insurance under the Affordable Care Act from 2016 to 2017 for a total of nearly 295 million people. Still, an estimated 28.5 million people went without any coverage last year, a slight increase over 2016. In 2010, before the Affordable Care Act became available, 16.3% of the U.S. population had no health insurance coverage. Now that figure's at 8.8%, meaning about 91% of all Americans had coverage for all or part of 2017, according to the Census Bureau. Wednesday's report also said the effects of the Republican-led tax overhaul last year should benefit the average taxpayer, who could save about $2,000. Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Get started with Bitcoin at weusecoins.com. That's weusecoins.com. Reuters reports the Food and Drug Administration is considering a ban on flavored e-cigarettes from Juul Labs and other companies as it grapples with an epidemic of youth e-cigarette use that threatens to create a new generation of nicotine addicts. In a speech at FDA headquarters, Commissioner Scott Gottlieb said the agency would also revisit a policy that extended the dates for some manufacturers of flavored e-cigarettes to get FDA approval before selling their products. That could lead to the removal of some major flavored e-cigarette brands, including the popular products made by Juul, if they do not address the issue to the agency's satisfaction. Gottlieb said, "We see clear signs that youth use of electronic cigarettes has reached an epidemic proportion." The FDA said more than 2 million middle school and high school students used e-cigarettes in 2017. The FDA is giving the 5 top-selling e-cigarette brands, Juul, Vuse, Mark 10 XL, Blue, and Logic, 60 days to provide plans for how they will mitigate sales to minors. Investors in Juul's competitors appear to welcome the FDA announcement. Gottlieb announced a number of steps the agency plans to take as part of a broader crackdown on the sale and marketing of e-cigarettes to minors. Juul Labs said it would work with the FDA and is committed to preventing underage use of its products. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
It's the Onion Radio News. Raccoon leaders call for the loosening of garbage can lids. This is Doyle Redland reporting. In a 4 a.m. speech at the group's annual Washington, D.C. convention this morning, North American Raccoon Federation President Bristletail called upon homeowners to loosen the lids of their garbage cans providing the ring-tailed mammals with greater access to discarded food scraps during nocturnal scavenging.
Every time you seal a standard 30-gallon garbage can, as many as 6 raccoons are forced to go without their necessary daily supply of congealed baked beans, rancid cottage cheese chunks, and moldy cantaloupe rinds.
The 26-pound varmint closed his speech with a stern warning that without raccoons, possums could take over the world. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, kicking off hour number 2. You can call in and join us. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733 in studio. It's Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And Chris, you've got a story about excessive force, but before we get to that, let's go to the phones where we've got Andy calling in from North Texas. Andy, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts. Doing well. You're on the radio. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Are you there? I can't hear anything.
Can you hear me?
Hold on. Let me try unmuting the ISDN and muting the Comrex. Can you hear me, Andy? If not, I'll put you on hold and then try you back in a minute. And Andy just dropped off the line. Apparently, there is something going on with the phones, and I don't know what it is. So, Chris, go ahead with that story.
Yeah. So this comes to us from Reuters. Excessive force towards prisoners does not require sadism, U.S. Appeals Court rules. Federal Appeals Court said proof of sadism is not needed to hold prison officers liable for excessive force under the U.S. Constitution's 8th Amendment, as it revived an Oregon State prison civil damages lawsuit over his treatment.
Oh, Jesus.
By a 3-0 vote, the 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals said on Thursday a trial judge erred in requiring Sean Horde, an inmate at the Snake River Correctional Institution, to show jurors it was more likely than not that officers were, quote, having or deriving pleasure from extreme cruelty, unquote, while beating him. So basically what you've had is judgments that say, well, they weren't doing it sadistically, which means they were...
It's not excessive force because they didn't enjoy it? Is that basically what the standard was?
There you go, Darryl. Exactly. It's not torture if you're not enjoying it.
What?
Excessive force, quote, excessive force under the 8th Amendment does not require proof that an officer enjoyed or otherwise derived pleasure from his or her use of force, unquote. Circuit Judge Richard Paez wrote for the three-judge panel, which ordered a new trial for Horde. Quote, sadism is not and never has been an element of excessive force.
All right, so we'll continue with this. We've got Andy back on the line. The board op in GCN says that he should be able to hear us now. Andy, thank you for holding and then calling back in. You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Well, thanks for having me. Y'all may have covered this already, but I guess I may not have heard it. I wanted to talk about the little scooters that are popping up in urban areas now, where you got an app and you check them out for a certain amount of time and you ride them and leave them.
That just sounds like such a cool idea.
I've heard these things talked about. We don't have them where we live.
Right. But
because we are definitely not in an urban area.
Right.
Well, neither am I, but I hear about it. And at first I'm thinking, this is great. You know, I'd really like it. It's neat that they're able to do this. It's a great idea. But I need to get my head wrapped around from an anarchist, libertarian kind of viewpoint on this. The argument was brought back that, yeah, that's neat that they do that, but if AT&T came and dropped a cell phone tower in the middle of an intersection, people would freak out about that.
Right.
So what's the difference between this company using public property, which is obviously nobody owns because nobody can do anything with it except the city government?
Right.
And so help me figure out what the difference there is, and if it's not a valid point because the state shouldn't even exist there in the town anyway, but help me think this through.
Yeah. So I kind of look at it as like, regardless of whether you like the current system or not, the current system exists, and we can't really flip a light switch and make it be something else. So right now, you have this idea of public property, which introduces what we like to refer to as the tragedy of the commons.
So wait, where are
nobody
they
really takes
leaving
care of
these
it.
scooters? They're just like leaving them on sidewalks?
Now, here's how these things
they're
work.
electronically locked.
Right. So basically, here's how it works. A company like Lime, which is one of these, will do. They'll set up an office, and they'll say scooters are available here, and you load a little app on your phone, right?
Yeah.
And you check out a scooter, and you
Like a moped type scooter? Is this what we're...
Yeah, it's
because I grew up on like little Razor scooters. So.
yeah, probably closer
They're
to
a little Razor type.
Yeah.
So
but
it's
they're-
not electric or like.
No, they are. They're electric.
Right.
So I rent one, right? I'm going to rent my Lime scooter, and I'm going
Okay.
to cruise from, near my house where this office is to my work.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just leave it outside. I leave it where it is. I leave it, and it automatically locks and stuff like that.
It's got like a GPS tracker on
Yes,
it.
all kinds of stuff. But somebody else might need one where I'm at, so they can just say, "Oh, here's one. I'm going to put that into my app, and now I get billed for it, and I'll use it."
I've seen
So you don't have to return it though.
So I've seen these bike share sort of things to where they've got basically whatever the company is, and I don't know, Lime might be part of the bike share thing. I've never heard of them, so we'll just use them as an example. They'll have these special bike racks.
Yeah.
That you put the front wheel in, and then it winds up locking on.
Right.
So you use the bike when you swipe your little card or use the app or whatever. But when you're not using the bike or the scooter, somebody else can use the bike and the scooter.
Right.
And I've heard that there are even companies that are letting people loan their cars out. So I'm at work from 8 to 5.
Right.
I don't need my car. It's just sitting in a parking spot. Oh, Chris, you need to run errands?
Yeah.
Okay. You can, somehow use my car, and then you bring it back at,
right.
5 o'clock when I get off
You're
work.
making money off your car while it's not doing anything
I can
else.
see insurance companies having a field day with that.
Yeah, well, with that kind of thing, I could see that too. But the idea behind the electric scooters is, it's affordable from the Greens' point of view. It reduces greenhouse gases. It helps people not have to, take out their car and all kinds of stuff. But what happens in cities like San Francisco?
This, though.
They do, and
they want that, and they say it's their right to control that because they.
How do they want to
work for the
control it?
people
Like,
of the
what
city.
exactly do they want to control
They
about
want
it?
to put a permit on it. They want to make you pay, or the company pay, to put a little sticker on it and pay them whatever, $10 a year, whatever they decide it's going to be.
Right.
Because essentially they're using public property that the city and the people of the city supposedly own through the city, the corporation of the city, or however it's organized.
Right.
So, logically you're thinking, okay, well, if that's the system, and you said this, that's a system we got to be in, and that's a system that is, that sort of logically makes sense. And like I said, the person arguing back to me, if AT&T jammed a cell phone tower in the middle of an intersection in the right of way or at a sidewalk and said, hey, we're just doing the same thing, the city has every right to go and say, hey, you got to buy that property, or you got to rent it from us or through the people. So that seemed like a valid argument against the freedom to set up these little scooters.
My understanding, and I realize that use of sidewalk ordinances are going to vary from municipality to municipality, but for the most part, you are free to use the sidewalks as long as you are not impeding the flow of pedestrian traffic.
Right.
So
they say the scooters sitting there would be impeding it, as would a cell phone tower.
What they are saying is we can't come up with a better excuse to regulate this, so I'm going to use this excuse.
Right, because I'm guessing that 5 feet from wherever the scooter, lock thing is, there's probably a bike rack, 3 newspaper stands,
right,
and a garbage can.
Sure, absolutely.
And these things are not, poking out, blocking half of the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Then consider this thing. If you owned a storefront selling fruit,
Yeah.
And some guy tools along there with his cart, sets it up in front of your store, sells fruit for 2 cents less an apple.
Right.
I mean, you can't. You're going to have to accept some things that are uncomfortable and inconvenient if you want to have the free market actually be free.
Exactly.
And I understand the long-term benefits are extraordinarily better.
Right.
But how do I argue against this? And it's so difficult because it's such a good argument.
Hold the line, Andy. Hold the line. We'll continue this discussion. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. 855-450-3733.
Crimes of the Crown by Captain Mark. The Crown casts the world in shadow and claims to be our guiding light. Cowards clamor for security from boogeymen and ghost stories, while I say these hobgoblins are imaginary. I say those they propped up as our liberators are now subsisting on our bondage. I say there is freedom in the black, and that's exactly where we intend to go. The Crown banishes its own officers for exposing its crimes and tortures dissidents to the brink of madness. It dominates the globe and swallows the wealth of generations, leaving only blood and excrement. The Crown calls it piracy to explore frontiers beyond its grasp. So the time has come for us to define the conduct among pirates. I say the Crown has trampled our necks long enough. Need decentralized solutions to centralized problems? Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels? Or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com. We won't be hard to find.
Your property and your family are precious. Protect them with Blink, like we have. Blink motion-activated HD cameras are wire-free, set up fast, and their batteries last up to 2 years. And Blink's live feed option lets you monitor what's happening at home anytime, anywhere from your smartphone. No contracts, no subscriptions, and Blink works with Alexa. You can get 3 Blink cameras for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They are working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform. The unique spelling of Horizon is a nod to their heritage and recognizes that they remain committed to the vision that their project was built upon. Their coin and ticker symbol remain ZEN. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community. HORIZEN.global.
If you're looking for work, the person you are applying to may be even more nervous than you are. And the way things are now, your references have never been more important. Here are 3 tips. First, know that employers are checking. Every hire is under the microscope these days. Second, they won't just be checking references you provide. Figure that all of your ex-employers will get a call and be asked, would you hire him or her again? Third, assume you will be Googled. So before you apply, remove all those party animal photos from your Facebook page. Even if you're not in the job market, effective communication skills have never been more important, with money and attention so scarce now. For more tips for job seekers and getting better results in all your day-to-day communication, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We'll get back to the phones in just a second. But first, I want to make sure that I tell you about Liberty.menu. What is it? Well, it's a directory of liberty-minded businesses that libertarians have wanted for a long time. Liberty.menu is a tool for our community. At its core is a directory for events, businesses, digital content, and more. Listings, like Chris's for 101 Local Goods, can be rated and reviewed, which I think I've done that.
You have.
And
Thank
there's
you.
also a bit of a social networking aspect where other people can connect and share and, I think, reply to my comments. And I don't know if that can happen on things like Yelp.
Yeah, I have some experience with Yelp, and I was certainly not overly impressed with it. And number two, there was nothing really about Yelp that would promote liberty and promote you to be able to shop at people that share your values.
And Liberty.menu, again, is exclusively for individuals who reject the initiation of force and those who agree to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle. Put your voluntarist ideas into action at Liberty.menu. Use code FTL to get a special Free Talk Live listeners badge. Liberty.menu. Let's go back to the phones where we've got Andy calling in from North Texas. And we're continuing this discussion, and it sort of evolved from talking about these scooters for rent to just a discussion about sort of the tragedy of the commons.
Right.
And, well, if this scooter company can, put their scooters on a sidewalk, then why can't AT&T put up a cell phone tower in the middle of the sidewalk, because it's basically the same thing, according to a politician somewhere.
Well, that's the trouble with it all, and it seems like a somewhat valid argument, and I guess it comes down to the tragedy of the commons, like you said, and we have to live in the system we're in, but I hate to see every time something new comes on, like they came on with Uber and how this wonderful new thing came on there, and it's so neat that we can use this, and government and city councils found out about this and just stomped down on it and said, you can't do this unless you have our permission. And they're like, why?
Right.
Why do I need your permission?
Right.
And the same thing is happening with the scooters because it's public, and I'm using the flying air quotes here, public property, which means property that nobody can use unless you get a permission slip, and it ticks me off.
Right. And it's not supposed to be you can't use unless you have a permission slip. It's supposed to be you can use it as long as you are not impeding other people's equal right to use it.
Right. And the other question I have is, what happens if I just go buy a damn electric scooter?
All right.
Park it in front of your...
Right. What if I buy one that has all the same technology? Like I can lock it. When I park it, nobody's going to steal it.
You have to have that permitted.
Yeah.
You just have to have that permitted. They want it permitted.
Well, in reading a lot of the stories about these guys, it's not clear that they're applying the same regulations to your average guy, or whether this is just pointed at these big companies.
And I think it's pointed at the big companies because, and going back to you need a license or some kind of thing, currently in every state they have a engine size requirement for if you are below, and I think for things that are in the form of a motorcycle, if it's below 50 cc's, I think.
Right,
I could
49
be off.
cc's. That's
so if it's like 49 or lower, and it could be not a moped because mopeds have pedals on them, but below 49 cc's you don't need any registration, etc. Blah blah blah. But yet on these they're saying, well, if it's over 20 cc's and it fits this particular shape, and you're letting people use it that aren't the owner, or something.
Isn't it so sad that we have to twist ourselves into pretzels on something like this?
Right, and then there's
the block that it's sitting on, and those owners going, no, I'm good with it. You can get to my store faster. I'm fine. Leave it.
Right, and then there's the thing of what defines impeding free flow of pedestrian traffic. So is the bike rack that the city puts there that's right next to where this guy's putting his scooter, is that impeding the free flow of pedestrian traffic? But this scooter that is smaller than some bicycles somehow magically impedes, and so therefore you need a permit. And AT&T gave us a bunch of money, so we'll let their thing, and we'll just put that pole right in the middle of the sidewalk,
right?
Because you can still go on either side of it,
right? But again, this is all about control. These are the things that the governments do. They like to control things so they can tax things, so they can extract and extort money from these companies. I'm not a big target because if I buy my own scooter, even if it has all the same features, how much are you going to get out of me? But if you've got a company that's got 20,000 of these scooters roaming around San Francisco, then dollar signs start to go off.
Right.
And it's disgusting.
Andy, let me ask this question. What part of Texas are you in?
North Texas, up near the border of Oklahoma, north of Dallas.
Okay, because there's actually a story from Dallas, and I saw that you're a podcast listener, so you'll catch this at a later time. But story from Dallas about a bike sharing company, and thank you for the call. And I figured this is good segue talking about this sharing economy thing. He's calling in from just north of Dallas. Story from Reason. New permitting and registration fees have killed off at least one bike-sharing company previously operating in Dallas, Texas, which means that instead of helping people commute, run errands, or visit friends, thousands of yellow bikes previously operated by OFO are now heaped into a city recycling center with a massive modernist monument to poor civic policy. And they've got a picture here of just a big, giant heap of yellow bicycles that, it does look like some kind of weird art monument. OFO decided to pull out of Dallas after the city passed new rules requiring an $800 registration fee and a permit fee of $21 per bicycle.
Jeez.
While there were more than 20,000 shared bikes available in Dallas, including roughly 5,000 operated by OFO, before the city's new registration fee system went into effect, there are now roughly 3,500 available, according to the Dallas Morning News. Bike-sharing companies and other app-based transportation options like electronic scooters have popped up in many major American cities over the past 2 years, offering a competitively priced alternative to struggling public transportation systems and ride-sharing services. Reason says they're hip, useful, and environmentally friendly. In other words, everything that city transit planners usually love, except for the fact that they are operated by private companies instead of as a public monopoly.
Yeah, and that's the difference. I mean, I just don't see how people can sit there and just blindly accept that. Well, I mean, I like Uber, but, they've got to pay their fair share too. And why? Why? The roads get driven on just as much whether you're taking an Uber, whether you're not. If you're using a bike sharing service, there's no different impact than if you are riding your bike. Why?
Judging by some reactions, people are happy to blame the victims of the pile of useless yellow bikes waiting to be melted and recycled. People including the Dallas mayor, who criticized OFO for not donating the bikes to a charitable cause. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
This is Fred.
Hi, I'm Fred.
Fred's a repeater.
I tend to repeat.
Fred has a business.
I do have a business.
And a problem. Fred repeats the same tired advertising over and over, and now it doesn't work.
Over and over.
But Fred is about to see a vision.
I'm seeing a vision.
Advertising on the Genesis Communications Network is the smart way for Fred to reach his potential customers with the most affordable national advertising rates, period. Get started today with GCN, the Genesis Communications Network. Just email advertise@gcnlive.com.
It's a no-brainer. A Big Berkey water filter is the one you need, period. You need a water filter that removes chlorine, fluoride, pharmaceuticals, BPA, and other endocrine disruptors, pesticides, bacteria, viruses, and much more, right? And does it all at only 2 cents per gallon. Get the original and most trusted name in gravity water filtration, Big Berkey. And now GCN listeners receive 5% off ceramic filter systems using code GCN. Call or click 1-877-99-BERKEY or BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY.
Free Talk Live.
But we have the opportunity. No one has the opportunity.
Look, just hold on. Just because the slaves can pick the head slave
doesn't mean that the slaves are free.
Oh, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Look, if people actually got up and voted for things, there might actually be some change.
People do actually get up and vote for things, and change always results in the same crap.
What are you going to do that's different by voting?
Two choices between crap sandwiches, man.
You're speaking out of both sides of your mouth. On the one hand, you're saying, oh, hardly anybody votes, so you can barely say this is a person of right. And then I say, well, gosh, if people get up and vote, maybe things will change.
Hold on, that was only one thing he brought up.
Here's what I mean.
When people do vote, it doesn't make any difference because of a number of reasons.
People never vote in numbers that could actually reflect what
Why should I vote for any of these thugs? They're killers. They're murderers.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern. Live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. That is the toll-free call-in line of how you can call in and join us. But we've also got 3 call-in lines on the Discord. And Chris, I know that you actually use the Discord thing, and I just like referring to it as the Discord thing.
The Discord thing.
Just like when we had Skype, I would refer to it as the Skype thing.
I was just in there.
Were you?
Yeah, I was. I've been making a few Discord appearances lately.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Discord's it's an online service that anybody can basically set up their own server on Discord. LRN.FM has their own server, so we have different chat rooms for different LRN shows like Free Talk Live, Call to Freedom, Declare Your Independence, things like that. But there's also groups for text chat for things like cryptocurrency and New Hampshire, but you can also do voice chat, which is really cool, so you can talk to other listeners. And, of course, like Darryl said, we have actual call-in lines that sound as good as or better than the phone.
So here's kind of a tech question.
Sure.
About the Discord. You mentioned that, people can set up their own servers, but is Discord federated? So, like, if I set up a server, could I then, from my server, chat on the LRN or no?
Not there, but most servers are free to use, and I think they all are.
Right, because
actually.
I mentioned the Mastodon earlier, to where that's a federated thing, to where actually the Free Talk Live Mastodon account is actually on Libradon, not Mastodon,
Right.
but anybody with a Mastodon account can connect and communicate with people on Libradon.
Right. With this,
even
it's
though
all-
they're technically different servers. So I was just curious on the different server.
Discord is
thing.
not a decentralized system. It is
Okay.
sort of a centralized system. So if you have a login for Discord, you can pretty much join any channel you want.
Yeah, you can
Excellent.
hang out with me and Chris and
Yeah. And-
Waffles Mackenzie,
See?
whoever that is.
All right.
I don't
Baraka
even know if
60.
that's an actual thing.
Baraka
I think you're just
60s.
like saying syllables now that sound like they could be usernames.
Nah, we always have great
No, that's an
usernames.
actual username.
Sure.
It's
So-
Waffles Mackenzie.
Let's go back to this article, Chris, that we started at the top of this hour about a court ruling out of the 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, where when I first heard this headline, I was like, that's very interesting, and I'm curious what the circumstances were behind how this actually wound up going to court.
Yeah, and we'll get into a little bit of detail. But again, a federal appeals court has said that proof of sadism is not needed to hold prison officers liable for excessive force under the Eighth Amendment. And the U.S. The Ninth Circuit Court voted 3-0 to grant a new trial to this gentleman, who was Sean Horde, right? And to recap, quote, excessive force under the Eighth Amendment does not require proof that an officer enjoyed or otherwise derived pleasure from his or her use of force, unquote. Circuit Judge Richard Paez wrote for the 3-judge panel, which ordered a new trial for Horde. Quote, sadism is not and has never been an element of excessive force.
So let me rephrase this and use a term that I'm guessing everybody listening has heard at one point in their life.
Okay.
This is going to hurt me more than it's going to hurt you. So if the police officer or the prison guard in this situation is, like just wailing on you with a billy club, but saying, I promise this hurts me more than it hurts you, he's not getting pleasure out of it, or maybe that's his kink. I don't know.
Right.
But it's still excessive force, whether the guy enjoyed it or not.
Right. Horde had sued over a December 21st, 2012 incident in which he claimed an officer slammed his face into a concrete wall, resulting in bleeding, and that he did not resist.
Sure it did.
Yeah. And that he did not resist because he feared additional force. The defendant said the force used was, quote, minimal, and that Horde had been combative. A spokeswoman for Oregon Attorney
He bled
General...
all over the floor after I smashed his face. That's him fighting back and being combative.
Right. A spokeswoman for Oregon Attorney General Ellen Roseblum, whose office defended the prison guards, did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Joshua Haffenbrack, a lawyer who argued Horde's appeal, declined to comment. Horde said he was beaten after he had smashed a razor intended for personal use, ostensibly after discovering that it did not work. Prison officials dispute that claim. The appeal court returned the case to U.S. District Judge Anna Brown in Portland, Oregon. Snake River Prison is in Ontario, Oregon, about 390 miles away, southeast of Portland and on the Idaho border.
So how far away is that from where you used to live on the Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur
I was about 100.
compound?
I was about 180 miles from Portland, and I was probably about 190 miles from
Rajneeshi,
Ontario.
that's the word I was thinking of.
Yeah,
Rosh
Rajneesh
Hashanah is
Purim.
the holiday that just started last week.
Yeah, I did not live there. I lived even more in the middle of nowhere.
But you did visit there, and you told the story about having visited there because apparently there's a Netflix documentary about the place now.
Wild country. Really good.
Is it as good as Making a Murderer?
I loved it.
They're completely
you should
different
watch it.
documentaries.
So same like binge-worthy kind of.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. It was a very popular series. But yeah, this idea. I mean, what do you think, Darryl? I mean, should you, if you're going to say it's excessive force, why would you say, well, they didn't enjoy it, so it wasn't excessive?
Yeah, and I'm curious And I wish that this article from Reuters, and I realize that, Reuters, they do a here's the facts, just the facts sort of thing.
Right.
They're not necessarily going back through and saying, here's where this legal precedent came from. I would like to know where this legal precedent came from and how the judge came to that conclusion to say that it cannot be excessive force if the cop doesn't enjoy it.
Yeah. I think it's going to be one of those things I'm going to do a little bit of digging into. But it is just such a weird thing. I mean, there are people.
50 Shades of Grey is like changing the Supreme Court, I guess.
Circuit courts.
Is this a circuit?
This is Ninth Circuit Court.
Yeah.
Ninth Circuit.
Yep.
Okay.
But yeah, the idea that something isn't a violation.
50 Shades of Justice.
that something isn't a violation of your human rights because nobody enjoyed it. It's baffling.
Yeah, it's kind of like, and
who's the judge?
It was a 3-judge panel here, and we don't know who came up with the original thing. That's what we're discussing, but it's kind of like some of the qualified immunity things of, well, the cop didn't intend to violate your rights,
right?
So therefore, you have no legal standing to sue for a violation of your rights.
Right.
Had he intended to violate a clearly known, well-established something, then you could wind up seeking redress. Oh, you want to file a petition for redress to your highly elected officials? That's fine. Go ahead. But they have no obligation to answer your petition.
Right.
And that was actually a Supreme Court ruling back in 2005, I think it was.
Yeah. So, we have a Bill of Rights. The United States has a Bill of Rights, and those are limitations. They are further limitations on what the government can do, and that's what our Constitution kind of lays out. Here's what the few powers that we have granted to this central government, and everything else remains with the states, remains with the people, and that's just kind of gone by the wayside where, the judiciary can work hand in hand with the legislature and the executive to, shape the country however they want to do it. And it's sad.
Yeah, and I actually pulled up something from Justia U.S. Law, and it was the case of Whitley v. Albers, where the court said that a malicious and sadistic state of mind was required.
Interesting.
This is Free Talk Live. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
Hear that? That's the sound of a house being trashed while a gang of thieves ransack the place. And what they don't steal will be destroyed.
This year, resolve not to be the next victim of a break-in. Go to faketv.com and discover a device that creates the illusion someone inside is watching TV, even when you're miles away. Security is a mindset, and Fake TV should be part of your security solution. Be vigilant, but not fearful. faketv.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733, plus the Discord call-in lines. You can find those over at discord.lrn.fm. We've been talking about, well, government officials violating people's rights. And Chris, you've got a story about the NSA continuing to do that with the help of the British government. We'll get into that in just a second. But you know that your property and your family are precious, so you should probably protect them. And we recommend using Blink. Blink is a motion-activated HD camera that is wire-free. It sets up fast, and the batteries last up to 2 years. And the Blink live feed option lets you monitor what's happening at home anytime, anywhere from your smartphone or other portable device like a tablet. There are no contracts. There are no subscriptions. And Blink works with Alexa. Alexa, check my Blink camera. You get 3 Blink security cameras for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. That's all one word, blinkprotect.com/FTL. Blink is an Amazon company.
So we're going to talk we're changing gears here. We're going to talk a little bit about bulk interception by government spies. This comes to us from Ars Technica in their Bad Spy No Cookie section. Bulk interception by GCHQ, and that is the British version of the National Security Agency, basically, and the NSA violated Human Rights Charter, European Court's rule. In a set of rulings today, the European Court of Human Rights found that the mass surveillance scheme used by the GCHQ, the United Kingdom's Signals Intelligence Agency, violated the European Convention on Human Rights, ECHR, unlawfully intruding on the privacy and family life and freedom of expression of British and European citizens. And the case included consideration of intelligence collected by the United States National Security Agency that is shared with GCHQ.
So what they're saying here is just because the GCHQ sort of contracted out some data collection to the NSA does not eliminate culpability on behalf of GCHQ.
Right. And this is all under the new European Union's Court of Human Rights. You know, since the European Union came about, they brought in their own level of government. And in this case, they're looking at whether these agencies are violating human rights. And
now,
I think that's a good
interesting is that this ruling happened after the Brits voted to Brexit, but before they ever actually Brexited.
Right. Pre-Brexit.
Well, Brexit was the vote.
Right.
So it's
but they haven't really left yet.
Yeah, and I saw a meme, and I often don't talk about memes, but I saw a meme where somebody asked a cat, what would you do if you were the British government wanting to leave the European Union? And he said, I'd meow at the door until my owner opened it, and when they did, I'd just stand there. Which is kind of what's happened here with this Brexit thing, to where they're like, we're leaving now.
Yeah.
And they've just stood by the open door. We're leaving. We promise. We just have to figure out exactly when we're going to walk out the front door because reasons.
And a lot of people may not be familiar with how tightly intertwined the NSA. You know, we know that the NSA spies on us. If you don't know this 5 years after Edward Snowden, then here's your newsflash. Everything you do online is subject to government interception, cataloging, reading, sharing, use against you. They don't have to tell you they do it, but I'm going to tell you they do it.
Yes.
I will tell you that they've been doing this for most of my adult life. And this goes back to a 1982 book called The Puzzle Palace. And here's how it worked. It was against the law, technically, for the United States to do bulk collection of phone calls on its own citizens. And the British also had a law that said, you know, British government cannot do bulk collection of phone calls on its citizens. So what did the NSA and the GCHQ do? The NSA said, GCHQ, can you monitor all our transmissions over here, and we'll do the same for your citizens.
Right, and you may or may not have ever heard of the Five Eyes.
Right.
Which is U.S., Great Britain, Australia, Canada, New Zealand.
Yeah. Yeah,
so basically, you know, the large English-speaking countries of the world.
All basically tone their eyes. The court found that shared intelligence information gathered from bulk surveillance, as the GCHQ does with the NSA and other members of the, quote, Five Eyes Intelligence and Security Alliance, does not violate the Human Rights Charter. But the judges did warn that using such intelligence sharing to bypass restrictions on surveillance of a member state's own citizens would be a violation of the Charter. In the ruling, the judges found that there was insufficient oversight throughout the UK's Investigatory Powers Tribunal, the UK's equivalent of the U.S. Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, or FISA court.
So let's talk about this FISA court thing, that there's almost no oversight on that. Well, they act as basically a rubber stamp for all of these secret warrants. And I forget the exact number of warrants that the FISA court has rejected.
We've looked into this from time to time.
And, you know, I can only mark it up to a failure of the rubber stamp to actually wind up stamping correctly, because rubber stamps do occasionally wind up having stamping malfunctions.
Possibly, but the long and the short of it is when they want intelligence, when they want information on a U.S. citizen, they are supposed to go through a FISA court. And this is a top secret court. You can't go watch from the gallery. You can't get notes or minutes from it. It's secret. So we have no idea what they do. But one of the few times that they actually did talk about their percentages, it was, if memory serves, less than 1% of the time did they ever deny anything.
I think it was less than 0.1%.
Yeah, it was really
of the time. Low. And what's happened, and we learned this from the Snowden revelations, what's happened is these very broadly worded warrants.
Right.
So instead of just, I want to find out who's communicating with this particular person.
Right.
I want to know who's communicating with anybody that may or may not be associated with this organization, and everybody that's used the word the.
Right. And that's the type of thing they do. And this is the result of us allowing politicians to pass laws that empower the government to do these things.
Right. And a lot of times, and this is one of those Nancy Pelosi was right moments, where, remember, she famously said we have to pass the bill to find out what's in it. That's because even if you read the Patient Protection Affordable Care Act, which nobody actually had time to do prior to it passing, but even if you did wind up reading, a couple hundred pages of it, you would not have any idea what it was going to do, because it kept authorizing the Secretary of Health and Human Services to write regulations.
Right.
So it's Congress authorizing some bureaucrat to write their own rules.
Right. Do our job for us. I'm going to continue here. The judges also found that there was insufficient safeguards put in place to govern access to communications data. While the case has no direct impact on the U.S. intelligence gathering, the case could have a ripple effect because of the close connections between the U.S. and U.K. intelligence and law enforcement organizations. The suit was brought by Big Brother Watch, Amnesty International, and the American Civil Liberties Union, and a number of other civil liberties organizations from Europe and North America, as well as the Bureau of Investigative Journalism and others. Quote, the decision sends a clear message that similar surveillance programs, such as those conducted by the NSA, are also incompatible with human rights, unquote, claimed ACLU attorney Patrick Toomey. Quote, governments in Europe and the United States alike must take steps to rein in mass spying and adopt long overdue reforms that truly safeguard our privacy, unquote. No damages were awarded other than for the court costs of some of the applicants who brought the suit. And the court did not find that the surveillance itself was illegal. However, the ruling did find that individuals' privacy rights applied from the moment communications and data were captured by the surveillance systems, not just when they were viewed or processed by human analysts. And the ruling also found that surveillance violates freedom of expression because of its potentially chilling effects on journalists.
And let's talk about that, how these surveillances wind up harming journalists. And supposedly there's freedom of the press, right? Supposedly. This is Free Talk Live. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Times are changing. The circus of politics, healthcare's low standards and high prices, and let's not forget food quality. What to do? Arm yourself with Life Change Tea at GetTheTea.com. In a world of chemical imbalance and poor air and water quality, it's time you make a move. Log on to GetTheTea.com and stock up on organic non-GMO supplements. Don't forget the tea. Cleansing your body never felt so good. And we have a brand new tea called Takedown Tea, which helps support healthy glucose. All natural body support so you can be at your best, naturally. All you have to do is log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. We're not a fad that comes and goes. We are the real deal. Join us and armor up. GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Changing America's health one tea bag at a time.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, September 13th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.29 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,210 per ounce. Zen is trading at $16, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,457. Antiwar.com reports on Wednesday, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo announced that he had sent a certification to Congress affirming that the Saudi government is taking demonstrable action to reduce civilian casualties in Yemen. This certification allows U.S. military aid to continue to flow to the Saudis. In reality, there is no sign of any concrete changes in Saudi policy, and the civilian death toll is as high as ever. What Pompeo has done is allow the administration to circumvent congressional efforts to limit U.S. involvement in the Saudi war. In the 2019 National Defense Authorization Act, Congress called a halt to U.S. funding of the Saudi-led coalition, demanding major changes to reduce civilian casualties and saying no aid could flow until such time as it was certified that the changes were made. Instead of actually doing that, Pompeo is signing paperwork now, ensuring that the U.S. aid shipments won't stop for even a moment. This does, however, ignore congressional intentions and is likely to fuel more efforts to try to scale back the war going forward. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. UPI reports average household incomes in the United States climbed for the third straight year in 2017, and poverty rates declined, according to new data on Wednesday from the U.S. Census Bureau. The 74-page report titled Income and Poverty in the United States said the median U.S. household income was $61,372 last year, up nearly 2% from 2016. While significant, the increase in household income made larger jumps in both 2015 and 2016. The Census Bureau also detailed a 0.4% decline in the poverty rate to 12.3%. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reported this month the unemployment rate remained historically low at 3.9%, its lowest level since the year 2000. The census figures also showed that nearly 2.3 million more Americans bought health insurance under the Affordable Care Act from 2016 to 2017 for a total of nearly 295 million people. Still, an estimated 28.5 million people went without any coverage last year, a slight increase over 2016. In 2010, before the Affordable Care Act became available, 16.3% of the U.S. population had no health insurance coverage. Now that figure's at 8.8%, meaning about 91% of all Americans had coverage for all or part of 2017, according to the Census Bureau. Wednesday's report also said the effects of the Republican-led tax overhaul last year should benefit the average taxpayer, who could save about $2,000. Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Get started with Bitcoin at weusecoins.com. That's weusecoins.com. Reuters reports the Food and Drug Administration is considering a ban on flavored e-cigarettes from Juul Labs and other companies as it grapples with an epidemic of youth e-cigarette use that threatens to create a new generation of nicotine addicts. In a speech at FDA headquarters, Commissioner Scott Gottlieb said the agency would also revisit a policy that extended the dates for some manufacturers of flavored e-cigarettes to get FDA approval before selling their products. That could lead to the removal of some major flavored e-cigarette brands, including the popular products made by Juul, if they do not address the issue to the agency's satisfaction. Gottlieb said, "We see clear signs that youth use of electronic cigarettes has reached an epidemic proportion." The FDA said more than 2 million middle school and high school students used e-cigarettes in 2017. The FDA is giving the 5 top-selling e-cigarette brands, Juul, Vuse, Mark 10 XL, Blue, and Logic, 60 days to provide plans for how they will mitigate sales to minors. Investors in Juul's competitors appear to welcome the FDA announcement. Gottlieb announced a number of of steps the agency plans to take as part of a broader crackdown on the sale and marketing of e-cigarettes to minors. Juul Labs said it would work with the FDA and is committed to preventing underage use of its products. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
We're being attacked by news from all sides in tonight's News Blitz. Now we're homing in on Houston, Texas, where NASA announced today that the crew of the International Space Station has successfully completed their 13-year mission studying man's ability to constantly repair a large object in space. NASA officials hailed the remarkable feat of maintenance at a press conference this afternoon.
And throughout human history, man has gazed at the stars and dreamed of fixing something up there. People once thought the ultimate feat in human repair was a really big boat. Today, we've accomplished so much more.
This comes in the wake of NASA's previous success, finding out how many times an astronaut could hold something in his hand, then let it go, watch it float in front of his face for a bit, then catch it again. All right, dust yourself off. You have survived the News Blitz.
Tune in tomorrow morning to Today Now. We'll look back at Jim's week as a polygamist.
Oh, it's going to be fun.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450 free. That's how you can call in to join us in hour 3. In studio tonight, it's Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And Chris, you've got a story from Ars Technica about the British GCHQ, which is the Government Communication Headquarters, which is the British equivalent to the NSA and part of the Five Eyes. And there are actually several government agencies from the U.S., the UK, New Zealand, Canada, and Australia that are part of the Five Eyes. And it's called Five Eyes because of the 5 countries, not 5 agencies involved.
5 EYES.
Yes. And yeah, so this article saying that, yeah, there have been some violations of the European Convention of Human Rights on behalf of GCHQ. Some of those violations include them using the NSA, or rather, just because you use the NSA to violate the rights doesn't mean that you're not culpable for violating the rights.
Right. And
you didn't directly do it, but you had someone else do it for you, so therefore you're still liable.
Right. And the ruling also found, and this is kind of where we dropped off, also found that surveillance violated freedom of expression because of its potential chilling effects on journalists.
Yes. And this is what I wanted to talk about for a moment. And I realize that this story is old, but it's a story that I don't think too many people are familiar with. The U.S. government, back in 2012, but it did not really become public until I think 2013, the DOJ obtained 2 months worth of phone records of journalists from the Associated Press.
Yeah.
And this all had to do with, I believe it was 1 or 2 journalists that were doing stories on some terror cell. And because they were communicating with a source, the DOJ wanted the cell phone records and the landline records of everybody at the Associated Press.
Yeah, yeah.
And what this winds up doing, it doesn't just wind up telling you, here's the 2 journalists that were communicating with somebody in Turkey that may or may not have been the source, but it also winds up potentially exposing every source that every journalist has for every story they're working on.
Right. And this was an interesting one because, it was the all of AP, but it was also under similar justifications. They used this when Eric Holder went after James Rosen of Fox News.
Yes.
Basically saying that he was a possible co-conspirator in violation of the Espionage Act of 1917. Yes. And this is being used against the press. And I don't...
What little press we have left.
Well, in a sense, we're part of the press.
No, we definitely are. But there's so much like I don't know, the mainstream channels that so many people follow is just so full of like scripted garbage these days.
It can be, but people have a right to put out scripted garbage. If journalists wish to do that, then
right, and that's more lazy reporting and some of the centralization. But Reuters, they do a lot of good investigative journalism.
They do.
The Associated Press does a lot of good investigative journalism.
Yeah, and the idea that that what have we always been taught? We've always been taught that. A reporter's sources, those are confidential. Those are protected by the First Amendment.
But didn't the Supreme Court rule that you could actually some journalists or media could publish lies, knowingly publish false information?
Well, people in the media don't take an oath of office.
I can't remember what the case was.
You're probably talking about some defamation case, and defamation requires willful intent to harm someone's character.
Let me see if I can pull it up. It was
that's been brought up a lot with Trump and,
Right, and Roy Moore tried filing a defamation lawsuit against some journalist from a year ago, and then again against Sacha Baron Cohen just a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
Alleging some kind of defamation of character, but because he is a public official, there's a much higher bar that has to be met for a defamation suit to have any kind of standing at all.
And why is this even dangerous? Why do we care if reporters, can have protected sources? The reason is we as a society have relied upon and continue to rely upon the press to ask questions that we may not think to ask.
Right.
And that's why, our founding fathers and framers put that First Amendment in there, and they mentioned freedom of the press because they did not want the press to be able to be swayed by the political changing whims of the time.
Right. And let me real quickly, and then we'll go to the phones, explain why cell phone records are as important as they are. The ACLU says that typically a phone record of any kind, but like most people nowadays use cell phones.
Right.
Phone records obtained by the feds will show the date, time, and duration of incoming and outgoing calls and text messages. While it does not reveal the actual content of the call, it can be used to show a network of contacts and reveal a relationship between the people being contacted.
Right. And I will posit that it's more than likely that they are, while they're doing just the, date and time and all that, if they didn't need to store all that content, then the NSA wouldn't have wanted to build the world's largest data center in Utah.
Right.
There would not have been a need.
Let's go to the phones. We've got Will calling in from Seattle. He is, I guess, in the Discord. Will, go ahead with your thoughts.
Hey, so I wanted to call about, I guess there's over 100 homes on fire in Boston right now.
Yeah.
I guess there was some kind of gas explosions or something. I had just heard about that. I didn't know if you guys caught wind of that.
Yeah. I actually
Heather
did.
mentioned something about it, but
actually I got asked to go. Some of you know that I do live streaming for News to Share on Facebook, and I was actually reached out and asked if I could go cover some of this because it's becoming a much bigger issue than originally thought, to the point where I just saw Governor Sununu here in New Hampshire has apparently said that several New Hampshire fire departments have been sent there to help because all of these houses are bursting into flames and there's only so many fire departments.
So what's going on? Is there a gas leak or something? Because generally houses don't just burst into flames.
Yes, it's a gas leak, I guess. I don't know. Some pressure in the pipes and it's just causing explosions.
That sucks. So my question...
So they actually, I heard that anybody with gas is supposed to evacuate the house and their homes in Andover.
So this is Massachusetts has somewhat of a history with this, and either requiring people not to leave their homes or requiring them to leave their homes. Lots of governments do.
Mm-hmm.
But is this a forced evacuation? In other words, do men with guns show up at your door and say you must leave immediately? Or I'm curious.
So I just found a story from Boston.com. They say that here's tweets from the cities of, or possibly towns of, Lawrence, Andover, North Andover, and state officials from Lawrence, Mass. For Lawrence evacuation, South Lawrence residents should have received a wireless emergency alert. This is directing residents in South Lawrence to evacuate the area due to an ongoing emergency. If you have a car, please safely leave the area. You can drive to a shelter, and then they give locations of shelters. If you need a ride or cannot drive, please go to one of the 3 evacuation assembly points, and then they list those below. Andover police say alternate shelter is being opened at a middle school. Andrew Mailer, who's a town manager for some municipality, says if you have natural gas, please do not return to your home. We are working with Columbia Gas to identify specific areas at risk so that others can return to their home.
Hold them over?
So if you, Will, I don't know if you have any info on this. It sounded like you did not. But yeah, if you've got some info, hold the line. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733.
Ike was such a sweet, lovable animal, and people would want to pet him, and they'd come up, and they'd get close to him, and it would be this instant, oh! My dad didn't want to touch him. It's like, ooh, get the stinky dog away from me.
Even after we'd give her a bath, she would still stink.
Very stinky, both bad breath and bad gas. I asked the vet, and he said some dogs are just stinky.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa, the digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
The ingredients convinced me that it was definitely worth trying. After about a week, he started smelling normal. My husband and I were really kind of astonished.
Dinovite is nutrition.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Your property and your family are precious. Protect them with Blink. Blink motion-activated HD cameras are wire-free, set up fast, and their batteries last up to 2 years. And Blink's live feed option lets you monitor what's happening in your home anytime, anywhere. No contracts, no subscriptions, and Blink works with Alexa. You can get 3 Blink cameras for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. Blink is an Amazon company.
Bitcoin.com wants you to know about SaveItPurse.com. Since launching in 2014, over 200,000 users have saved an average of 15% for a combined $4 million using Bitcoin, or BTC. And now you can use Bitcoin Cash, BCH, to fund your account. You can save between 5 to 33% on things you're going to buy anyway when you shop using SaveItPurse.com. Add items to your cart, fund your account, select your discount, and save. SaveItPurse.com. Save ATPurse.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp, is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
How many lawyers does it take to change a light bulb? None. They'd rather keep their clients in the dark. There are too many lawyer jokes to count. However, there are some lawyers with more noble intentions. At the Institute for Justice, we bring the light to our clients. We are a non-profit public interest law firm with clear values and principles. At IJ, we fight for those whose most basic rights are denied by the government. Visit our website today at ij.org.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. That's how you can call in and join us with whatever is on your mind. And we'll get back to the phones here in just a second. But I want to make sure that I tell you about Bitcoin.com because they want you to know about SaveItPurse.com. Since launching in 2014, hard to believe it's been 4 years already, over 200,000 users have saved an average of 15% for a combined $4 million using Bitcoin, BTC, and now you can use Bitcoin Cash, BCH, to fund your account. Chris, I know that you've recently been doing some remodeling and getting some stuff from Save It Purse. I don't know how much you contributed to the $4 million of savings, but I know you've contributed a good bit.
It was a lot of savings.
And again, that's an average of 15% per purchase. And of course, you can save between 5 to 33%. And most of the time, people buy things through Save It Purse that they were going to buy anyway. I guess every now and then somebody's like, oh, well, I can get it for 25% off. I don't really need it, but yeah, go ahead.
What the heck?
What the heck? Go ahead, save some money. And yeah, so what you do is you go to SaveItPurse.com. You put things into your cart. You then fund the account. You select the discount that you want, and then you save. SaveAtPurse.com. That's Save AT Purse, all one word. So this is not an email address. Don't type in to your email, Save It Purse, because that's not going to work. In the address bar, saveatpurse.com. Let's go to Sarah calling in from Nuevo Mexico. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yes, I just want to let you know that, did you know that there's a secret underground railway connecting Albuquerque to Denver, Colorado?
To the airport?
Hold on, there's an underground railroad in New Mexico?
Hold on, I want to hear this.
I want to know more about the underground railroad.
Well, it's definitely a government top secret, and it's got to do with the underground base, underground bomb shelter. I'm sorry that I just heard it from a guy.
Hold on, so if it's top secret, how do you know about it?
She heard it from a guy. Hold on, keep going, Heather.
Yes, Thanks. You know what? I was at a store, a convenience store, and I told him, I said, did you know there's underground bomb shelters that go 8 stories down? Did you know they have these?
And what did they say to you?
And then he said, my dad worked on the Underground Railroad from Albuquerque to Denver, Colorado. And he said he worked on it. He goes, did you know that there's an Underground Railroad? And all of these top secret, they're coming out because they tell their families.
Sure.
You know what I mean? If you're working on it, you're going to tell your families at dinner time. And these people, their families know about it. And these people are, like I said, 5 bases, underground bases in South Carolina. They remain not anonymous. They have they tell people that put it on the website. And they never disclose who.
So, Sarah, what's the purpose of this underground railroad between Albuquerque and Denver?
Oh, I know, but go ahead.
Well, I have no idea what the purpose is, but it's a network.
Okay, yeah. So here's kind of here's at least how the conspiracy theory goes. When they were building the Denver airport, there were a lot of conspiracies have come out about why did they need to dig it as deep as they did, where they dug, And then there's all these different like symbols and things like that in the statues and the paintings that make people believe that it's sort of the one world order. Like, and the idea is this is the rumor, this is the urban legend, is that, you know, if the war ever is imminent and the end is coming, then all the wealthiest people in the world will all fly to Denver where they'll be safe. And then,
but what about the
train, right? That would just
Albuquerque,
right? There just may be, you know, from a conspiracy point of view, then maybe there's these spur lines that will bring people to the Denver airport.
So
Sarah, that's my thought.
How many other secret underground railroads are there going to the Denver airport?
You know what? I only know about one because his dad actually worked on it.
Allegedly.
That connects to Albuquerque but there must be other underground network. But I did hear
allegedly
that it took forever to build the Denver airport. It took like forever. And then I never knew that there was a question about how far they dug.
No, it did not take eternity to build the airport, Sarah. Thank you for the call.
But that's the thing. I mean, a lot of these, there are government projects that, you know, it was just as crazy when people started hearing in the 50s that, you know, there's something going on down in Maryland, you know, and, you know, under Raven Rock Mountain where they were going to, you know, they're digging underneath this mountain.
It's totally plausible, though. Like back in the alcohol prohibition days, right? They used to build tunnels in Massachusetts and like underground bunkers where they'd like stockpile booze.
You bet. But in this case, Raven Rock Mountain, turns out that is now known as, became known as Site R, which was one of the underground Pentagons that this was where people in Washington would go. And it is literally an underground city with bowling alleys and downtown.
But in Washington, D.C.?
No, it's under a mountain. It's actually in Pennsylvania, but just across the Maryland-Pennsylvania border.
Yeah, Sarah called in about that thing. It's super top secret. Nobody knows about it. Why is nobody talking about this? And then I just did a Google search and found like 1,000 websites on it.
And now you'll find more information about that thing, those types of things.
But it's because they talked at their dinner table, Darryl. Did you not just listen?
Exactly.
Hi, honey. What did you do today? How was work?
I dug a top secret tunnel from Albuquerque.
400-mile
piece of cake.
Oh, I'm fairly certain somebody ate some cake somewhere along the non-existent tunnel route here. But yeah, like, you know,
that stuff does happen though. It's like hidden.
I'm not saying it didn't. I'm not saying it did. I'm just saying that there's a whole lot of money that's gone
theoretically possible?
Missing.
Sure.
Right.
Am I going to believe it before there's some kind of evidence? No.
400.
But here's the problem. When your government lies to you so often and
that's
for so many years.
That's how you wind up with flat earthers, Chris.
Well, this is true, but this is why people will hear like these completely insane ideas and go, well, they also started Vietnam War. They also started World War II. They got us.
Agents were meeting with cartels in Chicago.
Right. And all these crazy things that turn out to be true. So, yeah. The side effect is that people do tend to believe in conspiracy.
There was that KFC. Remember I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago?
The Los Pollos Hermanos that was like 15
right on the
feet
border
off of the Mexican border.
Oh, yeah.
So they had like the little underground tunnel where they would like bring in the drugs.
Yeah, that was like 100 feet.
It was a KFC.
We're talking about
400 miles.
400 miles.
They were serving up some Kentucky Fried Cocaine.
Kentucky Fried Cocaine.
Yeah, I just don't. And then why only Albuquerque to Denver?
For Sarah. She likes public transportation.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. No, Sarah, they don't have special trains just for you.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com. Or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
When you use public Wi-Fi, hackers and identity thieves can see anything you do online. embarrassing photos, your web history, even your passwords. That's why I use private internet access to encrypt my internet connection for less than 10 cents a day. Sign up now at privateinternetaccess.com, and in just a few minutes, you'll be browsing anonymously and only sharing what you want to share. privateinternetaccess.com. It's time to protect your online privacy.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. That's how you can call in and join us. And the us in studio tonight is Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And maybe you're too shy to call in, but you still want to interact. You can do that over at the forums that we have over at forum.freetalklive.com. I think a lot of people, there's still some action on the forums, but I think a lot of people have sort of taken the posting, I guess, over to Discord. I don't know. Discord seems to be a little more active than the forum these days.
It definitely has more subscribers, but there's not a week that goes by that I don't get a message from, the forums with somebody posting something. People still like. The nice thing about what LRN.FM and Free Talk Live do is we use all these different technologies.
Right.
There's billions of different ways that you can interact with us, and it's fun.
All of them using the internet, which is a series of tubes, I hear.
It is a series of tubes.
Forum.freetalklive.com. So, is there more to talk about on these secret underground, railroads or the government spying?
Now, the long and the short of it is the European Union basically did a slap on the wrist and said, don't do this anymore. They've ruled and said that this violates people's human rights. And anytime, government courts or tribunals come out and say those things, I think it's a good thing. I never get my hopes up that they're going to change.
I'm not going to hold my breath
right.
that GCHQ, NSA, and whatever the Australian and New Zealand and Canadian equivalent are, that they'll actually wind up stopping.
Right. And that's
the
big thing. Yeah.
And maybe they'll just, focus all of their efforts on digging underground tunnels for some unknown reason. And you might know a guy that knew a guy that knew a guy that...
to be fair, she met the guy in a convenience store. So we're not talking about an unreliable source here.
She met a guy at a convenience store who said his dad worked on it.
Right. And I don't know what more you need for proof, Darryl.
Well, I'm reminded of all of these urban legends where I know a guy that this happened to the guy.
No, a friend of his, right.
Yeah, it was his friend. That there's always the guy, and it was always in the neighboring town.
Right. But, big deal. Come on.
Yeah. So maybe there is a tunnel for some weird reason between Albuquerque and Denver. I don't believe it. Your calls and thoughts, 855-450-FREE. Let's go back to the phones. We've got Christina calling in from New Mexico. Christina, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hi. Yes, I just wanted to share with your listening audience some regulations and requirements for our banking system that runs these governments and these state agencies and these corporations. And it's the NSCC, which is in charge of bank regulations, both licensed and unlicensed, doing business in the United States of America. There's concentration limits of the overall exposure that they can use as limits and standards go. And what I've found is that it's a violation based on emotional prejudice, which affects their financial capacity. And those excise 50% taxes are coming, so they're going to have to send out their fair market value, and they're going to have to do the required minimum distributions, even if they don't want to.
Hold on. You're going really fast here, and I'm not able to wrap my head around all of what you just said here. So you said that there's a government entity called the NSEC?
No, it's NS. See, N as in Nancy, S as in Sam, C, and C as a crooked cat. So
okay.
It's the NCC. That's when you have a centralized counterparty that goes in and does a countermeasure test on the system. And
what's a countermeasure test?
Testing to see whether they're too big to fail, whether they fail certain things.
Well, it should identify sources of operational risk and minimize them,
right.
Through the development of appropriate systems, controls, and procedures. And what's happened is that the counterparty's obligations are not required upon Congress or legislature or even the office of the executive, because it was a multinational enterprise agreement, and we didn't invite Trump.
Right. Like a lot of these things, and you're referring to the National Foundation for Credit Counseling.
No, not at all. It's the National Security for Settlement Systems and the DTCC. It's a central corporate business continuity function that we have in place within the enterprise systems that run part of the market and, all the way to your utility payments that you send, all these transfers that go on. There is a clearinghouse that accounts for them. So there is a record, a permanent record.
Right.
And all you need to do is read the audits of your Senate or your Congress or even your county once a year or at all, and it will change your mind. You just have to read.
Hold on, is Congress audited?
That's what I'm trying to get to. Exactly what am I supposed to read and where do I find it?
Okay, what you read is you would go to whatever state that you're in, like New Mexico, it's state.nm.us.gov, and you can go into audits, and they have the past 3 different audits from different auditors, and they all show material weaknesses.
So what specific thing do you want people to look for in the audit?
Because I've read audits.
I want them to go 3 years back and read that, 10 years back and read that audit, and then that's all I wanted. Just read today's audit and read it 10 years ago.
And then do what with the information? Just be aware of the information?
Well, any intelligent, capable individual, knowing what cost and risk and rate of return is, would understand that what we are seeing is a proliferation of economic collapse and an acceleration of the depletion of natural resources, and that's not a sustainable market.
Well, yeah, but you're not giving anybody any hint on how to go about doing this. So
she mentioned
go to the website.
She did. She said
for the audit and then read the audit.
Read the audit and then read the one from 10 years ago,
right,
and compare the two.
Right, and what specific things do you want people to look for in the audit?
Right.
And then what do you want them to do with the information other than just be knowledgeable of, I have read the audit?
And angry.
I'm extremely angry. That's correct, because you sound like someone that has the capacity to have that competent, financial fiduciary intent for continuity of the market. What we're seeing is a grand slam grab bag of this extinguishing market, because debt securities are not going to get us to the next step.
Right.
We have to invest. We have to invest in clean water systems and distribution, be our own energy producers, be our own agricultural producers, protect our borders from, people like the Zika virus and hantavirus coming in and, mass shipments. And doing our
those things aren't going to be found in the audit.
Well, no, what she's saying is that all this points to.
I figured people are intelligent enough to figure that out.
Right. No, you have. Yeah, you have an audience here that I think for the most part is mistrustful of
a bunch of other people listening to this conversation, other than just the 3 people in the studio and you.
What I think we can, we can all agree.
I'm trying to clear up for other people of what specific thing do you want them to look at in the audit, and Chris, you're trying to get another piece of info.
No, I'm just saying that I think we can all agree that this entire system is unsustainable. Our financial system is unsustainable. Our government spending is unsustainable, and that's not news. But if you're proposing specific solutions,
that's what she's doing.
Yeah.
That's what
she's proposing her solutions.
And
I picked up on that,
and we can debate those. Like if you say we need sustainable the wind power and things like that, I'm going to challenge on that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't need people to pick the specific, renewable or recurring revenue energy source that they want to pick. I just want them to be their own producers, so that way they're not paying a third-party market at the expense of their children's survivor benefits.
You should call it.
Those are
I think
more
she should call in more often.
Christina, thank you for
intellectually
the call,
satisfying.
Your calls and thoughts. Welcome. 855-450-FREE. 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynovite.
Pick up 2 bottles of Super Mega Fish Oil.
Get the 3rd bottle free. Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Dogs love it. Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Heart-related health problems affect millions of people each year. Maybe you're one of the many who suffer from issues related to angina pain, high blood pressure, congestive heart failure, unbalanced cholesterol, irregular heartbeat, or clogged arteries. There is a solution that doesn't involve expensive prescription drugs that only mask the problem and leave you with horrible side effects. If you are ready to live your life free of sickness, pain, and fear, live your life with increased vitality, energy, and youthfulness, and experience your body healing itself, then you're ready for Heart and Body Extract from Healthy Hearts Club. Here is what one satisfied customer had to say about Heart and Body Extract regarding his angina pain.
I haven't had an angina pain since I've been on it. The Heart Body Extract is just so great. I thank God that I was led to this product that's doing so much for me and that can do so much for other people.
Call to order your 2-month supply of Heart and Body Extract today. Call 1-866-295-5305 or go to hbextract.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Boost Kid Essentials Nutritionally Complete Drink, providing your picky eater with essential nutrition and great taste in one drink. Visit us at kidessentials.com. To make sure your kids eat healthy, follow the 5-a-day plan. Serve 3 servings of vegetables and 2 servings of fruit daily. Remember, a serving could just mean a piece of fruit or a half cup of veggies. If your kids are picky eaters, ask a nutritionist about other sources. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Possibly time for you and your thoughts if you call in now to 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. We'll get into a story about mandatory evacuations. How mandatory are they? But first, want to make sure that I tell you about CryptoTip.org. The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card size tip that you can give to your service provider, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it brings up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and then allows them to claim the amount that you have put on the tip. If they don't claim the crypto during, the period of time that you choose, be it 1, 2, 3, 6, or 12 months, you get the crypto refunded to you. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at CryptoTip.org. Remember that there are 6 to a page. That way, if you're trying to print out 1 or 2 pages worth, you know how many to print. Available with Dash and Bitcoin Cash BCH. CryptoTip.org.
So I got this story here. These fires really kind of got me thinking about these mandatory evacuations and stuff like that. And then you get the hurricane down south.
Yeah, hurricane's supposed to be hitting the Carolinas today, I think, probably
Making
bringing a
landfall.
lot of rain to most of the southeast, up through Virginia. I'll be in D.C. over the weekend, so hopefully I don't wind up getting too much of the rain.
We should really have weather.
Yeah.
Can we do that, Darryl? Can we do
No.
green screen weather?
No, we cannot do green screen weather because we're not a television station, and a lot of the stations that take Free Talk Live delay broadcast. So if we're doing up-to-the-minute news, then that really throws off what Free Talk Live is an issues-oriented show, not news of the minute.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
I'm telling you no. So
Go
how
ahead.
mandatory are these evacuations?
All right. So this comes from WUSA9.com. And it says all week long, WUSA9 Verify researchers have been tracking misinformation coming around Hurricane Florence. Governors in the Carolinas and Virginia have all issued mandatory evacuations along the coast. And Virginia won't be rescinding the order anytime soon, according to Jeff Caldwell, the Director of External Affairs at the Department of Emergency Management. Lots of people online are confused about whether or not a mandatory evacuation is actually enforceable. We verified, can you be arrested? First, our researchers dug up the laws. In South Carolina, state code says the governor can compel an evacuation, but there's no punishment for people who refuse. In North Carolina, you can get up to a 60-day sentence in jail and a $1,000 fine and a Class 2 misdemeanor. In Virginia, it's a Class 1 misdemeanor carrying up to 12 months in jail and up to a $2,500 fine. So technically, you can be arrested, but it's not likely. The sheriff in York County, Virginia, said his squad is not going to arrest residents for failing to evacuate. The decision to leave is up to you, which I kind of find that interesting because you're basically somebody who's employed to enforce a law and you're stating that you're not going to enforce the law.
Because they're mandatorily being evacuated themselves. But
I mean, it would be like if you were to go back, like, could they cite you and arrest you after? You know what I mean?
Right.
That sounds kind of like, well, we heard that you jaywalked yesterday. We didn't actually see it. It would be rather difficult for them to prove that you didn't evacuate and then just get back before they did. But this reminds me of the road closures down south, the handful of times that it ever snows enough to close the roads because, one, it doesn't snow down south a lot, so it doesn't justify them having millions upon millions of dollars worth of equipment to clear the snow that might not happen for a couple of years.
Right.
So when it does happen and they close the roads, the cops aren't driving around, they're not driving around looking for people that are driving on the closed roads due to the snow. They just have something set up to where insurance doesn't cover anyone if they crash on a road that has been closed due to snow.
See, I feel like they're more likely to enforce the ones where they shut down the roads because then if you get stuck and someone's got to come out and save your butt, then they're going to be like, oh, well, guess who didn't listen? Here's a ticket.
Yeah, but in most cases, they have an obligation. They don't get a chance to say, I'm sorry you left a bunch of newspaper next to your fireplace and your house caught on fire, so that's your fault, so we didn't come out to do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's interesting, though. I do think, and this reminds me of, do you remember Mount St. Helens?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mount St. Helens thing blew up. And
Is that in your lifetime? You're that old?
Jesus.
It happened in my lifetime.
You're that old too? Jeez.
Yes. I am that old.
Sorry.
I used to have a copy of the Time magazine.
Yeah.
That had the photo.
Yeah. So that was about 200 miles away from us, and I watched it. I mean, we watched it. You used to be able to see Mount St. Helens on the horizon.
Used to,
and then it was gone one morning, and it was just a line of dark black cloud ash all the way across the horizon. But there was this old guy who lived up there. Do you remember this story?
I do not, no.
His name was Harry S. Truman, and he lived literally on Spirit Lake on the mountain, and he was one of those guys. He's just like, I don't care what you say, I am not going anywhere.
This was not the former president that lived atop Mount St. Helens.
No, but apparently his parents were big fans of the former president because they named their son Harry S. Truman.
Yep.
And Harry S. Truman, he died when the mountain blew up and Spirit Lake just ended up being one big mudslide.
Was Mount St. Helen the one that Gary Johnson climbed with a broken foot?
I don't know.
You're thinking of Mount Everest.
Okay,
anybody
right.
with $75,000 to blow can wind up climbing Mount Everest.
You can do that.
But he climbed it with a broken foot.
There are some people that climb it with no arms and legs.
There's some people that didn't climb. They climbed it fine, but they didn't climb back down, and they're still there.
Yeah.
The Sherpas, they climb it dozens of times a year.
Yeah. What about the Sherpas?
Ooh, never heard of them.
Well, you're just talking about Gary Johnson all the time. Sherpas are
the Sherpas are the guides that help the tourists climb Mount Everest.
Yeah. Well,
they were the ones that helped.
Speaking of Gary Johnson, did you see that the courts there struck down that straight voting ticket there in New Mexico that the Secretary of State... So the Secretary of State there tried to do this sneaky straight line voting
so the
for
legislature
November.
removed that from the ballots in New Mexico a couple of years ago. The Secretary of State this year just on a whim decided, we're going to put that thing back on the ballot. And the Libertarian Party, of course, sued.
Right.
And the Libertarian Party was successful in the lawsuit.
Good for them.
And the court said, you can't put the straight ticket thing back on because the legislature removed that.
See, you know what we need those little sound effects where I could push a button and like applause when we say something good.
No, we don't need sound effects. We're not a morning show.
Come on, we do a
evening
great
show.
morning zoo show.
Yeah.
Wouldn't we?
Yeah, I feel like it would make it that much more enjoyable if we had little
Daryl,
sound effects.
we should pitch this. We should pitch the morning zoo.
Yeah.
No.
It would be a blast. You would love it.
No.
Can you imagine if we were...
Morning shows are absolutely horrible.
Oh my God.
With all of the weird, wacky sound effects. It's unlistenable radio for the most part.
I know it.
If you commute to work and you just want your cup of,
cup of
your
moron.
frappy mocha latte chino. What was that styrofoam espresso thing you were reading about?
It was just an ad, and it was just driving me nuts. The extent that people have taken their coffee. Now, I remember, anybody ever listen to Opie and Anthony back when they were a show?
Oh, my God,
Nope.
yes.
Yeah. I'm aware that they were a thing.
I loved them.
Never listened to them.
Right. Did you remember Jocktober?
No.
It's like every October they would scour the country for the worst morning zoo shows.
Oh, God.
And they would play them like all October long, just play them and make fun of it.
I feel like I'd almost be better at morning talk radio than I would night talk radio.
Are you a morning person?
Yeah, well, I love coffee.
Well, who doesn't?
So
but I drink mine at night.
I would love to see. I had to get a caffeine-free tea. I got a Starbucks tea right here.
Sacrilege.
I was going to get a chai tea. But
so is there more on these evacuation things? Because talking about what type of radio you like is absolutely horrible radio.
How about the coffee,
Darryl?
We got coffee talk there, too.
I mean, there's not much more to this one. It just says a law professor of the University of North Carolina backed up the blog with all the information. Of course, state and local officials are not likely to order the mass arrest of individuals who refuse to heed a mandatory evacuation order. But this does not mean that they should be ignored.
Right. And then also keep in mind that sometimes while people are being mandatorily evacuated, other people are being mandatorily prevented from evacuating. We're out of time for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow and want to thank amplifier Richard Thompson, who is a gold amplifier. You can join the AMP program, amp.freetalklive.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.